Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast, The Strange Exchange. Today we're joined by a great person. We had him on here previously. This is part 2. He's joining me and Rob today, Mr. Brandon Raghu, the actor, the man, the myth, the legend, the dude. Where is he? Where'd he
I
go?
like the dude.
Hello.
The dude. He's back. He's
Oh.
alive. I thought I lost you there for a second there, buddy.
Great to be here. Great to be here.
Well, we love
See, look,
having you.
he has the acting game all down. So he plays it off like nothing even happened. He's like, yeah, it's okay. I didn't just disappear.
See, that's why we need him to advertise their show for us. We need him to be a spokesman. And
Rob's here too, by the way. I'm sure.
Rob is-
I'm sure
Rob
he's around
is
here
here.
somewhere. I don't know where he is,
Didn't it-
but he's around here
didn't I
somewhere.
say join us?
No, you usually just say, "Oh, Rego's joining me and only me because this is my show, Mr. Selfish."
Get out, Rob. We're having a moment.
I'll fight with you right here, right now. I'll fist up right
No.
now. Let's go.
No need.
What an
man.
intro. What an intro.
I got my ass kicked yesterday and today.
What are you playing tennis again?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were good at it.
This time I wear a skirt.
Interesting. I want to see pictures.
What's
All
on
right.
you guys' mind?
Well, I'll tell you what's on my mind. What's on my mind is a little bit of a little thing called summer fever. See,
Yeah, how was this heat, guys?
it's been hot. It's been just miserable. It's nice for a lot of people, I suppose, but the fish in the water are thinking, man, it's hot, and the parasites start coming to life and living.
Right? I'm so grateful that it's not humid, though. Like,
There's no more fish in the water.
Raghu, how have you been surviving in that heat, this recent heat wave we got going on?
It's been tough. I'm not a heat person. Honestly, maybe it's because I grew up in Minnesota, but I'm a very winter person. I love the winter and I love fall. I don't know. I'm not a heat person, but we've been doing one of my shows takes place outside. We're doing a lot of rehearsals out in the heat, and we actually just had a conversation today of like, what if it gets too hot, and we're looking into like rules, regulations, and things like that too.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you got to take into account heat-related illnesses. You know, people can get heat stroke. There was actually a dude on the Vikings back, I think, in like 2001 that died from practice.
Jesus
just
Christ.
practicing. He got a heat stroke and he died. It was very sad, very, very sad story. But that's what happens when it gets like super hot out here. It was like 100 degrees yesterday.
Yeah, I think it's supposed
101.
to cool down in the next week or so. This week is hot. But I think next week is supposed to cool down.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of like.
See,
the people
for
in
those
Florida
of you-
don't understand this. They're thinking you guys are just thinking
you
100
non-Minnesotan folk, let me tell you guys out there, there ain't nothing like a Minnesota summer. It's the humidity packs a punch.
Yeah,
Makes it 10 times worse than just like Arizona heat, dry heat.
well, because you're
You have
sweating, mosquitoes
humid
come
heat.
out.
Nope. And they're getting some spicy blood.
Yeah.
Spicy blood.
Yeah, they're getting their
Little bit
blood
of
cooked.
A little bit of sweat on the side of their blood. Sick, man.
Man, it's been interesting. What can I say? This heat wave coming in right away, because it was like cold for a little period there, and then it all of a sudden just got really hot, and now it's going to be hot for the next couple of days. I think into next weekend.
Global
So
warming.
yeah, great.
Where do
Great
you guys
stuff.
stand on global warming? Honestly, like, what are your genuine standings? We'll start with you, Rob. I'm actually really curious. I've never touched base with you on this.
I believe it exists. I just don't know necessarily the overall impact it's having. I have to obviously do more research. I'm not as up to date with everything. I do believe global warming is something that is existent, though. I think that the world is just getting hotter. If you look at every year, it's increasing. I think COVID kind of helped, though, because the emissions from like vehicles kind of went down a little bit with the amount of people staying home, not having to leave and go out anywhere. But then now look at
what
it.
You're saying is we should be at 115 degrees, not 100.
I think within time we might get to temperatures that are ridiculous, but obviously we still live in an area where the climate in the winter is, we're mostly cold majority of the year. This heat is, for like 3-4 months at most. And then we're back into like decent temperatures and then down to -70 for one day in January. So, yeah.
Oof. Bussin'.
I don't know if we would get as impacted by it as like maybe like a New York or an LA, because I think that whole southern part of California is probably going to have it as bad, like their heat waves and stuff. It's going to be, and then look at the droughts they have too. It's just insane. They're getting hit hard.
We give California the old boot. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Just start an earthquake.
Not yet, California. Not getting all that easy. What about you? What about you, Brandon?
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely think it exists. I think there's a lot of lag in humanity's like action towards it. I mean, I think its urgency is there. I think it's hard to explain its urgency. Like, I think it's not going to have as great as effect on us like today or in the next 10, 20 years. But I think I would say in the next 400 or 500 years, if we don't act now, it's going to be a completely different world. Honestly, for us, it doesn't seem like that great of an impact. But if you think about like the timeline of existence, like it's a short amount of time. For example, like if you were to think 500 years
Exactly.
ago, it seems like a long way. Not that long away, but if you look at, from the creation of Earth, from the Big Bang to now, it's been so many years. Like 500 years doesn't even seem like that much. I think it's hard for me. I know myself too, but I think for a lot of people, it's hard to kind of comprehend that, you know, every single action that we take every day could kind of slow down the process of how it acts. But I definitely think it exists.
I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
I think realistically, like you said, obviously looking back, I mean, just in, yesterday, we broke record temperatures from like the early 1900s, which that kind of is a sign of like, okay, things are getting hotter and they're getting a little bit worse in terms of like the humidity. I mean, the humidity actually hasn't really been all that bad. I mean, I think humidity is actually more of a good sign, but the heat, like the extreme heat, the sun bearing down on us, and then the lack of the overall like just trees we have in the inner cities, it's crazy. We need more, instead of building these brand new houses out in the middle of nowhere in Lake Elmo, Minnesota, maybe we could just make more nature reserves, provide more oxygen to our world. But instead, it's more about the dollar.
Air quality is pretty bad. Like
I'd say the air quality is more concerning than the actual temperature right now. It's getting bad.
If you guys ever travel to like the coast, like New York or California, like it's hard to breathe there in comparison to like living here.
That's scary.
Well, and also look at New York too. This is actually something I watched in a documentary on Netflix, is that Manhattan being so close to the water and the water's rising, they could be flooded at some point in the near future. That city could be underwater if you think about it. Not to an extreme, but they could hit that spot where it's like they got to start thinking like New Orleans and the places down in Louisiana where they have to build barriers and things because they're so close. I think that's just insane to me. Think about New York underwater. I'm thinking of like what's that movie, The Day After Tomorrow? Is that the one with the
yeah.
It's crazy.
That's what I think of right away. Like, I mean, if it happened, it'd be funny. It'd be kind of an interesting event.
Well, not that I agree, but I think it's I don't agree that it'd be funny, but I agree that it's totally possible.
Don't worry, Rob. It's funny.
I think it's only funny because it's just the fact that we watch a movie about like these events and we're thinking, oh yeah, that probably won't happen.
Well,
and if the likelihood of stuff like that happen, yeah, it could happen. Like it's.
It can happen. That's not funny, Rob. What's wrong with me?
Okay, you know what? I don't know. What would you rather do? Drown from the flooding or die from the smog overtaking you and suffocating you?
I'd say I'd rather have it flood than smog because, well,
It's either way, it's terrible. But
We can go underground. We can go underground. We can go underground and have suits like that one movie. What's that?
well,
movie
yeah,
that
you'd
was
have to
going-
live in the sewers with the rats in New York.
Well, finally, I've been waiting for this.
I've actually been asking a lot of people this. I would say my responses are 50-50. Would you rather freeze to death or burn to death?
Ooh.
Burning's gonna be quicker, but it's gonna be 100 times more painful. But the freezing is gonna be so slow, like compared, and then you're gonna feel pain for longer.
Yeah, but I think it's slow, but you lose feeling eventually.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with freezing.
Yeah,
It's gonna
the
suck.
freezing numbs you, and then you just kind of like your whole insides freeze
I know
up.
from
Like
experience, dude. No.
it's
Yeah,
yeah.
freezing. I feel like that'd be a lot better in terms of pain. Because when you're burning, man, yeah, I don't know if you've ever put your hand on, like a stove top, man. When it's hot, that is like
Yeah.
the pain scale is like max, like 10 out of 10 pain. Just kill me. And just imagine your whole body engulfed in like gas, and then just you're on fire. And then you sit down and just burn and try to send a message to the world. No,
Yeah, somebody take a picture of this real quick. That'd be funny though.
that's
I mean,
crazy,
at least
dude.
it'd be like, hey, he died doing what he loved, burning to
Yeah.
death.
What's the name of that guy again who did that? Lit himself on fire and sat down.
I don't know. I was on it was a protest movement, I think. I can't
Yeah,
remember
well,
what
I
it
think
is
in
though.
China, wasn't it? I could have sworn it was something from China.
It's on the first Rage Against the Machine album. I know that's their cover. Is the guy burning, because obviously that's the point of their music. I just don't know what he was doing it for. I'm not really like up to snuff on that. Raghu would know what it is.
No, fucking no.
He's a major
I'm
protester.
looking it up. I think-
He's been protesting doing the show. Now he's back.
Was it a
Let's
guy?
What's your interview questions?
Well, Raghu, you know what? Since we haven't had you here in a while, actually, you were on episode 3, I believe. It's been that long. Now you're on episode 23. Look at that.
Going far.
What have you been up to ever since then? Because I mean, at that point, you were still kind of making, and that was COVID too, by the way. We were in the midst of the pandemic.
When was that episode? That was like December. That was like Christmas time, wasn't it? That'd have been
It was
Christmas.
before then. It was
I
No, it was
remember
November.
now.
It was November. It had to have been November.
and you were just talking about doing movies within COVID, and you're like, well, we don't know what we're gonna do, and you kind of
Yeah, we were talking about how hard it is to set that stuff up and get people on.
So
board.
what's been on the agenda? I know you're doing the play, the Mamma Mia, which obviously is a very popular title in terms of the musical aspect.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's been good. I'd say from the last time. I remember the last time we talked, I was in process of making a film during COVID, and it was super hard that unfortunately we had to cancel production, just because the uncertainty at that point. We made this call back in January, and at that point there were no no vaccinations. Money was getting tight because people didn't want to invest money with something so uncertain, so we had to make the call to shut it off. Hopefully to get back into it this coming winter around. It'd be great to get back to it, but ever since then, let's see, I moved into a new place, so my girlfriend and I are in a penthouse now. You guys actually helped us move, which was fun. You guys had a lot of fun, right? Yeah, it was a ton of fun.
Oh, it's very fun. That place is pretty cool, but it's a little scary in the hallways, man. It's like a Resident Evil game, but I guess that adds good nature to the place. Definitely a good place.
Reminds me of Breaking Bad. Just
Yeah,
like the doors and everything like that. Like you're just gonna enter, and then there's Better Call Saul. He's just waiting there for you.
Yeah, I like the shape of your new apartment. It's like the shape of a 9 when you look at it from the living room and stuff, with the window and the view. The view is very sweet. I love the view. I wish like one of your guys' room connected to living room, like it went in a circle. But otherwise, that place is like fantastic.
I'd say it definitely for 2 people, it's a big place. Like it basically could be a house at this point. Just
Oh yeah.
the sheer size. Like if you're
Oh,
thinking like a single level house, that's kind of where you're at.
Pretty much where he's at. Yeah.
But you get a pool and a hot tub, which is kind of nice.
yeah. I'll talk a little bit later about how I think this place is freaking haunted.
Uh-oh.
Why
Here we
later?
go.
Oh, like on the episode, right? Not like it's not like you're gonna
Yeah,
include
well,
it on here, right? I hope.
you just remind me to circle back to it. Let me
Absolutely. This keeps the people wanting to listen.
Yeah, that's what they want to hear is the spookies.
But we got a cliff hanging right now. All right, we got to give them just a dose and then
All right, stay
take
tuned.
it away.
Stay tuned. Ghost.
Yes.
Ghost
So
in the
other
apartment.
than that, I'm currently working on 2 shows right now. So yes, of course, the first one's Mamma Mia. I'm really excited to direct that musical. Second one I'm working on is You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. So I'm actually doing a musical version of Charlie Brown, which has been
Oh, that would
really
be cool.
yeah, it's really fun. We're doing it outdoor. We're kind of building like a Charlie Brown house type set outdoor, and we're doing this production. Then I got promoted back in April, so I'm now at a different Lifetime club. I moved locations, and now I run the business for them. So I run their personal training business at that location, and I oversee my employees of trainers and make sure things are going well there. Just currently hiring trainers right now, trying to rebuild their business from COVID too. So a lot of rebuilding, I would say, right now.
Well,
Oh, man.
definitely too, with the restrictions being removed here in the state of Minnesota, now it's like people can go back to living sort of a normal life, not entirely normal, but sort of, they can go back to gyms and not feel weird about not wearing a mask. I don't know, is Lifetime still kind of forcing that, or is it kind of just
No,
at your own risk?
we said screw it. As soon as the mask mandate went away, I think the first day mask mandate went away, the Lifetime nationally sent out like an email to all of its members in Minnesota, said no more masks. Except there were a couple clubs. I think like the Target Center in like Highland Park in like the Minneapolis area, they still had to wear masks because
Mm-hmm.
that was their what do you call it?
Where's the one
Their
I go
mayor.
to? Just kidding.
Yeah, they required it, but and after a couple of days, we still had to wear masks, and eventually we got it off. And it's been weird now seeing everyone's faces and all that stuff. But I would say
Yeah, holy
businesses are
crap!
starting.
Remember you? Yeah, you didn't know you were that ugly.
That's
Wait,
how
see,
I felt.
people. See, I didn't wear a mask when I was working out at my gym, at all, ever. So people were actually wearing masks throughout this whole thing, that Lifetime, like even when they were
Yeah,
spaced
but
away.
you have to look at like the size of Lifetime compared to where you are at. I think that's
I mean, yeah, I'm
the big
rural
thing.
area. Like
Yeah, and I mean,
it's
I don't
different.
think you probably had, if you went probably
Well, I
during
mean,
the
there
day,
could
you might
be
have people in there, but
there could be a 15 people in that gym at a time.
what you
and that's
thinking?
pretty crowded for the size of it compared to Lifetime. But
Every
I would
time
have,
I've been to Lifetime, it's been pretty busy. I think
yeah.
they got a
Oh,
good
yeah. There's
crowd.
definitely more people there than the one I was going to. But I actually switched gyms. Brandon, I don't know if you knew that. I don't go to Snap Fitness anymore. That place is. Should I tell the story in here, Rob?
Yeah, you know what? We should, because
You think we?
who's it going to
You think we
hurt
can?
besides
No one. Literally no
nobody?
one. Yeah. Okay. We should be good then. So I switched gyms from Stat Fitness to Fitness Evolution. I'll get into Fitness Evolution after this. Pretty good place to get a pool and a hot tub and a sauna. That's how they
Nice.
pronounce it. It's not sauna, I guess. It's sauna. That sounds pretty weird. But yeah. So the owner of this gym where I live, I'm not gonna get too specific, but apparently this guy put a camera in the tanning booth in the gym.
What?
Yeah, he put like he was specifically targeting. I can send you the link, whatever after. But he was specifically targeting his one person, one lady,
Is this
whatever.
in
So,
Fitness?
yep, Snap Fitness, yep.
Is
And
there like a news article about it?
yeah, there was a report. I can send you it. I won't include that much information just because I
Interesting.
want to remain a little modest about it for reasons. But yeah, so he did that, and he actually got charges. So that was in
Really?
January. I didn't find out till about like last month.
What
So
happened, dude?
I think he still runs that gym.
What?
Yeah, the dude that ran it, he's definitely not a good dude though. I've talked to him on the phone before. He just seems like a prick job. Not
Was
really
he
good.
ever convicted?
What's that?
He
Was he
did
ever?
get charged,
He got
I
charged,
believe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So he did get caught and charged. I
Was
don't
he found like guilty?
I believe so. I think so, because they phoned the camera, and because there's
Yeah.
a report or it claimed that he was like trying to make it so people weren't gonna steal, and it's like, what are people gonna steal
In
from
the
the gym?
scamming?
Yeah, they keep like products and they have some some wear, like some clothing there, like sweaters and shirts up on the wall on
Mhm.
this rack thing, but it's like really there's cameras everywhere else, and you're gonna put one in the tanning booth. It's like, come on,
Yeah, that's pretty
bullshit.
messed up.
Yeah, but that is not the reason why I quit. I quit just mainly. I mean, it kind of helped to put the cherry on top. I should correct that. But I was just like, yeah, I don't want to keep giving this douchebag money. But he was a nice guy, so I switched. Saved myself $18 a month now from the bill, 48 to 30,
Nice.
and now I get a pool and a hot tub
48
and a
bucks for Snap Fitness, really?
yeah,
Yeah.
48, man. Yep, it's expensive. Like it's it's a
I mean, think
ripoff.
about that. $48 to go there, and
Lifetime? There's some
you're
lifetimes that are
getting
about
fucking
70 bucks.
camera on
Camera
camera in some
tanning
dude's
booth.
house.
Yeah.
It is
Some
sick.
lifetimes are about 70 bucks. I would pay the extra 22 bucks.
For what?
The
For
lifetime?
lifetime.
Oh yeah, yeah, Lifetime.
Well, you get more luxuries too, I think.
If
That's
I had a
the
Lifetime out
nice thing.
here, I'd probably be going there. I'd
Hmm.
think.
Well, Snap Fitness is playing you on their like accessibility because they're like right there in town. They're
Yeah,
not
they're out.
like
Yep.
Lifetime. I think probably the closest to you might be
Maple Grove.
Maple Grove, probably.
Hey, that's where I'm at.
Yep.
Well, okay,
You
then
do.
that's the
You
one
get
you
a
don't want to go
membership.
to. No.
Boy, yeah, I gotta stick a camera in your bathroom in your toilet.
Ragu's
How
gonna see
far
you
are you,
there, and he's gonna
bro?
make you put on some boxing gloves. You guys are gonna have a fight in the gym.
He's like, "You
How
want me to
far
be your
are you
trainer? You gotta
from
fight me
Maple Grove?
first, champ."
How far is
Oh,
Annandale from Maple Grove? Like 30 minutes?
Plymouth is the closest one to me. I lied.
Plymouth?
Yep. Oh
Hey,
wait, no, Maple Grove is the closest. It's 0.6 miles closer.
Well, Maple Grove and
So,
Plymouth are like right next to each other. It's not.
yep. So Maple Grove
how
is the
far are
closest
you then? Like 30 minutes?
from Maple Grove.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like an hour. It's
Oh,
yeah, it's a ways.
Oh, geez, I thought it was closer than that. Oops.
No.
Well,
Oh, it's 50 minutes. It's 49 minutes.
yeah.
fun. Are you guys familiar with Charlie Brown and Mamma Mia?
Not I know some things, but I'm not like definitely not anywhere that I could be better for it. But tell us about Mamma Mia. I've heard a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Mamma Mia, it's a pretty fun musical. We're doing it down in Fairmont right now. I guess to kind of sum it up, I won't go too much into detail because that could be boring. But it's a fun musical. The idea about it is there's a wedding that takes place on an island with the main character. Her name's Sophie. She's like 20 years old, and her mom, who owns the hotel on this island, her name is Donna. Now, Sophie didn't grow up with a father, and her wedding is the weekend which the musical takes place. And the idea is that at the beginning of the musical, she writes an invitation to all of these three guys who are supposedly with her mom, 20 years ago. So that could be her dad. And then these dads come to the hotel, and they run into the mom, and it's just this whole fiesta of a weekend. Sophie finding out that she never really knows which one's her dad. It's just this fun musical of like who done it, who's the dad, and at the end she doesn't go through with the wedding. There are some different hookups and fun stuff like that. So that's Mamma Mia.
Gee, sounds like a lot of drama. Sounds like my kind of gig.
That's right.
Well, ironically, Mamma Mia is actually based off of an ABBA song.
It is.
Yeah, it's not Dancing Queen either, though. Although that would have been cool. Or
It's in the
Fernando.
musical.
Well, right. I mean, obviously they kind of were the premise of it, and I mean, I don't know. It's cool though. I mean, it's a major play in terms of like its popularity. Obviously, the movie
Yeah, a title
itself
like
did pretty
that.
well.
I never
They
seen the
did.
movie. You guys seen it? Like, actually, I mean, I'm sure. Well, Raghu probably seen it. I mean, he has to.
I
Probably
can't even
has
remember
to.
if I seen it. I know Pierce Brosnan was in it, the old James Bond. I know he was in it.
Right.
Uh, and then I think the dude that played in the Chernobyl series was in it. Played one of the Russians in that series. I think he's in that movie too, which is weird to think about. Oh, Meryl Streep's in it. I know that.
Yeah, Meryl Streep's in it.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's great.
I-
But
It's just
yeah.
a fun. It's a fun musical. It's definitely different than Charlie Brown.
So okay, so with Mamma Mia, obviously you're not really working with like. I mean, what would you say like a play for like Mamma Mia? Would you say it's good for more of like a teenage audience, adult audience? What is the aim for you guys?
I would say that's actually a good question because it's what we've been discussing a lot about, like who our target audience is.
Mhm.
I think definitely there's an audience, like an older audience base that we have to satisfy because of, ABBA fans, like older people. They're ABBA fans. It's
I like ABBA.
yeah. I
I
mean,
think they're pretty good. They get
I
some
would
good
say
hits.
for the older generation, it could be kind of a nostalgic musical for them, but also there's a sense in making this a bit more of a. As I'm directing this and I'm thinking about when it takes place, like I have the opportunity to like set this in the 70s or anything like that. I'm going for more of like an era-less vibe, so it doesn't take place in a specific era. It's more loose, so that way.
3000.
Well, maybe
Mamma
not
Mia.
that. But,
Futuristic.
Everyone's a
but
cyborg.
so that way it does like meet audience of all ages. I would say anyone under 12 years old probably won't like it. There's a lot of like shirtless guys, a lot of
Oh man. All right. When does it
like
start?
hinted, a lot of things that are hinted at in a way that I don't think a kid would.
Right. There's obviously a sexual aspect to it with like obviously shirtless men. You're appealing to women that maybe just look at kind of like Magic Mike. They're looking at it as like oh la la whatever, and it's not like it's a fantasy
Ooh
thing.
la la.
But then you still have, but really the aspect of Mamma Mia is around the female characters, is it not? I mean, you got the mom and the daughter.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, you got
it's a
the mama,
very.
you got the Mia.
I would say it's a very coming of age story for
Okay.
Sophie, who's the main character, right? Like the evolution. And I think there's a lot of like questions on like gender norms, right? Like does the dad always have to be present to walk the female down the aisle? Can it just be the mother, Can it be her aunts? Things along
The
those
dog.
lines. It could be the
The
dog.
sons.
You know what? It should be the dog. I think that would be
The
a
brothers.
hell of a
Yeah.
finish.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, why can't you have honor with somebody else, guiding you? Like, yeah, exactly.
But overall, I would say it's been we're only 1 week in, so we just started last week. So this will premiere at the end of July. But it's fun, the set that we've built out, basically like we've built out a mock hotel. So we just built the front of a hotel from scratch and put it on stage.
Oh. Have we fall on a couch cushion or something? What's going on? Hello?
I think you're good.
We can. Oh yeah. I think.
Breaking up on a headphones or something.
Oh yeah.
We can hear you.
But
I can hear you. It just got like really scratchy all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, I was talking about basically we built this set for Mamma Mia. And it's basically like this. We took because it takes place in a hotel on an island, like a Greek island. We were basically building like the front of a hotel from scratch and putting it on stage. So you'll see like a big hotel, basically the inside of a hotel that we've built on stage. So that's been a lot of fun. That's an indoor production. I think it's my first indoor production since COVID. And then outdoor,
Dang.
my first outdoor production of Charlie Brown ever. It's my first outdoor production ever.
And now Charlie Brown with this one, is this because obviously Charlie Brown, it's all child based characters. And
Right.
so is that the forefront of it? You're working with kids again, or was the
I'm working with a lot more
With kids.
teenagers, I would say, than
Okay.
adults. Yeah, a lot more teenagers. I would say the target audience for this show, again, it's different because everyone knows Charlie Brown, right? Like you've seen Charlie Brown episode.
Yeah, man, Charlie Brown Halloween, you got to rock.
Yeah, so I think like
Great
again,
pumpkin.
it's these shows are weird because it's tricky because I have to satisfy two different types of audiences, like the nostalgic aspect that like an older audience member would see, be like, oh yeah, I remember watching that on TV, decades ago, versus um, seeing like a kid or a teenager in the audience that hasn't seen like the 1960 Charlie Brown, but
Mhm.
is seeing maybe a newer version of Charlie Brown. So that's been fun. I would say it's interesting because I would say most of the productions coming out of COVID has a sense of like revolutionizing different characters from different plays and different movies, but also touching, a nostalgic aspect of it too.
Well, I think the great thing too with Charlie Brown is the creator of it is a Minnesota guy, so that makes it even cooler. It's like, oh, Charles Schultz, who created this cartoon, is from Minnesota, and it's like this cartoon took off and became huge for the state, and it was kind of a nice little recognizable part. So that's even better for the younger audience to think, oh yeah, we've seen this. Maybe if didn't they just do an animated movie for Charlie
Yeah, they did.
Brown?
I think a couple of years ago.
How was that?
It was like a 3D animated, so it was like a full animation.
It's like another God, who made that one? Was that wasn't like a Pixar or nothing, was it? That wasn't
No,
any
I
of
don't
their
think it was
production.
Pixar.
That's usually what I think of right away, but um so at least they have like an aspect of like, yeah, we can keep this running and keep the characters alive. So I think that's cool. That's
Yeah,
obviously
that'd be one of the like basic, like the biggest benefits of that is keeping the legend of it going.
mhm.
Even though if like the animation is like scary or whatever, what happens to it, but it's not good that they're keeping it in there.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. The toughest part is having this now be a musical. Like they've turned it into a musical, which has been actually kind of it's weird because when they approached me about the project and they asked me would I be interested, I said yes because of two reasons. One, I haven't done anything in COVID, so I was itching to do something. And two, it's Charlie Brown, so I thought it would have been fun. And honestly, I thought it would have been easy, but it's actually probably the most challenging production I've done so far.
So
Yeah,
does
that's pretty
Charlie
interesting.
Brown, does he get to kick the football or no?
He he
So
throws a baseball in this
does he
one.
miss it and
Mm.
then fall on his ass? Does he
Yeah.
get to hold the
He misses a
football?
lot.
Play what's her name? Lucy?
Lucy.
No. Yeah,
Yeah, call him
Lucy.
a blockhead.
That's
Yeah.
just one of the famous lines in the musical.
Maybe I'll play her just for that scene, and then I'll have a female actor talk for me, and then I'll just remove the football quick so they can fall. That's all I want to do.
I would say one of the more interesting choices I made. I haven't told you guys this, but when we went through the audition process back in April. When I was
Ruh-roh.
casting the project, I actually casted Charlie Brown as a female.
Hmm.
I have a female playing Charlie Brown,
Uh,
which I know, which is different.
what?
I'm actually interested. I'm interested to see how the audience reacts to it. One, like I just wanted to take a risk, see what happens. But two, I think like the concept of Charlie Brown, like the name of the musical is "You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown." Like I think Charlie Brown tries to find like Charlie Brown's kind of a screw up, right? Like he can't do anything right. I didn't want it. I wanted to see what would happen if I didn't limit that just to males, right? Like it's tough being in this world coming out of pandemic, regardless of your gender. And I
Mhm.
kind of wanted to see the difference it would make from a female lens. It's been interesting. Either way, I think there's a lot of lessons to take out of Charlie Brown, regardless of your gender.
Well, I think definitely you can flip flop the identity. It does not necessarily have to be a male character. I mean, again, it's just the character is that of a lovable loser. You know, he just doesn't seem to get like that one step ahead. Everything's just kind of, you know, and Lucy's just bullying him and really trying to like get his spirits down and stuff, and that's her character. And then you got Snoopy, who kind of just there to be there at this point.
Yeah. I think
it's like this.
I think like an issue. The only issue with that, I mean, I definitely like the whole part where you said like it's a lesson. It's like something to learn, and you definitely gotta appreciate that. I think that is golden. Um, I was just gonna say, I guess like a lot of the people who know Charlie Brown for who Charlie Brown like is like. I mean, yeah, I know you can kind of transfer that personality and the individuality
Well, he
regardless of
doesn't
the
have
gender or
hair.
whatever.
I think that's what
Right.
kind of draws you
Yeah.
to
I
the
just think
idea he
like
might be a male character.
right. I just think
Right.
that character's been around for so long, and people like when they look at Charlie Brown, they see Charlie Brown as who Charlie Brown is. So it's gonna be a boy
Yeah.
with one little squiggly hair. But I'm not I'm not saying that
It's like Andrew. It's like Andrew.
your yeah, like your way of doing it. I'm not saying like that's wrong. I'm just saying like that might.
No. And when I went through the kind of like what I talked about when I was introducing this topic was like the two different types of audience that I have to please, right? Like the nostalgic audience, the older audience, and like the newer generation. And like how does this musical merge the two audiences together? I
Mhm.
think when I went through the casting process, it took me almost 1 week to make the decision. Like it was between this female and this male actor, and I just couldn't make the decision, but I made it. And now, I mean, I'm glad I made the decision because it's kind of fun to experiment in that way to see if I can actually merge these two worlds together and there won't be any like,
Yeah.
conservative issues or anything like that, but we'll see.
Well,
Yeah.
I think
No,
that's the tough part
definitely.
is the conservative audience that doesn't always enjoy change, and that's like with a lot of things. I think with like the Ghostbusters when they went to an all-female
Right.
cast,
That
I
was
think
a
that
disaster.
definitely, and in the movies was not great. Don't get me wrong, movie sucked.
I think it was the movie at that point that messed up.
Yeah, the movie sucked. The idea, like, it could have been okay had they maybe not approached it with the actresses that they did. I think they could have picked a better ensemble, but when you're trying to replace some of the
Yeah.
best acting in the first Ghostbusters with Bill Murray and Dan
Yeah. I
Aykroyd, I mean,
mean,
you're just
yeah.
you're walking a tightrope here.
You gotta expect a lot of negative
Yeah,
feedback when you're replacing golden actors with some people that are not them. You
and
mean it's like comparing like a diamond to like a rock, like just a
yeah,
basic rock. Like it's just I mean Bill Murray and stuff. I mean, come on, like
and I think the
that's
same goes
crazy.
with like characters too. You can really think of like, well, this character is supposed to look like this, not like that. Whatever. Like with the Spider-Man, I think that character in general, that's been through so many different
It's
character
like I
changes.
think it's the recycling. I think what's killing a lot of the stuff is like recycling. Oh, I won't say killing. That's kind of harsh, but maybe a better word is like it's kind of setting. It's like having setbacks. They keep recycling these ideas and they keep trying to redo stuff over and over and
Yeah.
over, and it's just getting more bland and stretched out, and then it's getting more hate from people and stuff. And I think that's just a big result of that recycling mentality where you got to keep grabbing onto that same idea and reworking it and try to make it something of your own. But
And
like I
it was
said, like what you're doing is great because you're an experimentalist. You're doing what you love, which is important.
No, and nobody's done it. Like nobody
Yeah,
has had the
exactly.
idea of changing the character, whether it's in a comic strip or in a movie or in a TV special, or a play, doesn't matter. I don't think anybody's had that idea. I don't believe so. You better patent it or figure out some way of keeping this
Quickly,
idea to
mail
yourself. You
yourself a
better
letter of your idea.
get a
Mail
copyright.
yourself it.
it
Mail
was
it to
actually
yourself.
it works really well. I'll have to invite you guys out and see your guys' opinion, but I think it works really
I
well.
would I would love to come to one of your plays. Honestly, you got to invite us to one of them, man. When you're
Yeah.
actually having it on
And
set on board.
you're in Fairmont now, correct?
So
You've been there for like a
so Mamma Mia is down in Fairmont, and
okay.
Charlie Brown is up in White Bear Lake.
Okay,
Oh,
I could definitely go to Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown,
That's
Charlie
easy.
Brown.
I can make it to that one right anytime.
Yeah,
I'm right down the road.
yeah. So like, I mean, I'm just kind of putting a button on this, like,
Yeah.
conservative. It's always interesting with conservative audiences. Like last year, I did Little House on the Prairie, another nostalgic type, musical. Everyone knows Little House on the Prairie, the TV show from was it early 2000, late 90s, something like that.
Yeah, it
And
took on a life of its own even to this day.
yeah, and the main love interest in the musical, who's supposed to be this male, this like jock kind of guy, I cast it as a girl, but I played the girl as a guy. And I remember it was opening night, and we were getting to the sequence, the play where Laura Ingalls Wilder, who's the main female character, kisses the partner, and like the audience, instead of like the audience like laughed, like they didn't take it seriously. Um, like it's supposed to be this somber moment that they've been through so much hardship. They like kissed, the audience like laughed, and I remember the next day like we got a bunch of calls and like letters saying like, how dare we cast a male as a female or a female as a male, and all it was like it was like very, I would say, anti inclusive messages. It's a very conservative community, so um, again,
Yeah.
like it's always interesting, but I would say like that community is much different from like a White Bear Lake, Minnesota.
Well, definitely. I mean, I'm in White Bear Lake quite often, so it's definitely a very tight knit community, but they're very inclusive. It's a lot of young people. It's a lot of people that are just engaging in like a really quiet, peaceful type of life up there, and it's like you're still in the cities, but you're not. Like you're in a really
Right.
nice, fancy, small town style, and it's just a lot of young people. The age gap is amazing, honestly. You still have your older crowd, probably a lot of conservative people. I mean, I've seen the Trump signs and stuff in White Bear Lake, whatever. But you still have that audience that's like, they're accepting young people, and that's really who's going to do the most accepting of this is the younger generation. You can't
Right.
always expect every older person to do it. You still have a good group of the older generations that'll be accepting and inclusive of it, but I think it's tough for them to do it without like because of the way they're raised. Like you said with the Little House on the Prairie one, like I'm sure when they saw that they were laughing because they didn't think it was like real. Like they thought, oh, this isn't a
Right.
serious moment. This would never happen in the actual show. Well, of course it wouldn't happen in the show. The show was set in the 70s. It was made then. I mean, it's set in the 1800s or whatever the hell it is. Like, of course, but if you take a different look on it, like Charlie Brown as a female character and Lucy as being actually nice instead of being a piece of garbage, you can look at it in a different light, and that's I don't know. I think people need to be accepting of the way things are changing. If you don't like change, too bad. Then you don't have to go see it.
The fun thing about this stuff, it's fun to experiment.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing with film. Like, what do you expect with films? You think they're gonna always be the same? Keanu Reeves just going out and killing people? That's just not how it's gonna be all the time.
John Wick 7.
Yeah, John Wick.
What are we doing now? Who's he killing now?
So yeah, but that's the fun stuff I've been up to. It's been some pretty long days lately, I would say. I'd say I leave the
What do you
house
mean?
at
What do you mean by long days? Like just like stress days, or just long days? Like just busy and it's just long.
filled with activity. I would say there's some days I leave the house at 7 and don't get back until midnight or so.
Holy crap!
Because right now because I'm doing two shows at once. I usually am up in the morning. I'm over at Lifetime for 9 hours or so, and then I head over to rehearsal, either at White Bear Lake or Fairmont. And then, but hopefully that's down soon. I'm hoping to take a little break in August, maybe throughout the winter too, just to kind of recharge and focus on one thing. But I think I took a little too much on my plate, especially when COVID opened back up. Because you
Mm.
go from doing nothing to kind of want to do everything without keeping
Yeah,
an eye on.
yeah, yep.
But
That's
Hey,
a weird,
you jumped into the
phenomenon.
pool without knowing how deep it was.
Oh shit! I can't touch the bottom. Oh shit!
He's like,
I,
uh-oh,
I
a
guess
little over my head here.
I also did
Wow.
an online. It was back in May. I did like an online directors like it was an online directors thing through like the Phoenix Theater and the Guthrie. So it was basically like how to direct theater online via plays, and I actually did a horror theater film thing. It's actually online. I'll share it with you guys. Um, and it's about like 10 minutes. Basically, it was like how can I experiment? I had a weekend with like two actors that I met online, and we created like this horror sequence of like this guy who was basically being tracked over the internet, and by this mystical figure that I tried to play off as like the devil that came after him, and like there's a lot of creepy stuff in it. But it was interesting because it's not filmed, because we couldn't like record it, edit, or anything. We were using Zoom, like the Zoom platform, and we created a bunch of like we basically created this horror play via Zoom. So we worked with what we had. That was another fun thing to experiment with. I'll share with you guys. It was pretty fun. But that one I kind of dealt with the idea of like child trafficking via the internet. A lot of people kind of mess around online and mess around maybe too much. They meet some people that they don't want to meet, and you've read stories of people kidnapping people via online and the dark web, and so I kind of set that play
All right,
in.
that's an interesting topic.
Yeah, I kind of set that play, that 10-minute play, in the dark web. Like this guy met this guy via the dark web, and he basically came after him, but it wasn't like human, and turned into be like this mystical, like devil type figure that came after him and took him away. But it had like an open ending, basically blaming the audience in a way. It's fun. I'll share it with you guys, but I would say there's a lot of like new topics that are being discussed now that we've had some time to reflect.
Dang, I really like that idea of that kind of dark web aspect, and there's like this demonic kind of essence to this being or profile on the internet. It turns out it's it comes for him and stuff. That's
Mhm.
really cool idea. I like that a lot. I'd definitely be down to see some of that.
Yeah, I mean that I like it because you're not really putting like a look on the person. Like they don't have to be a certain like skin color, certain like ethnicity or certain gender, whatever it may be. It's just a bad person. You know that in general.
Mhm.
It's just not a good person, because it could be anybody online that could harm you in a way. It
Right.
could be the friendliest guy, or it could be Mark Zuckerberg. You never know. It could be anybody that could
It's
harm you.
probably Mark Zuckerberg. If somebody's online, it's yeah. You should. That's who you should make it, not the devil. Mark
Make Mark
Zuckerberg. He's
Zuckerberg.
like the internet devil. He's like an alien creature thing. He's just
I have a
nasty.
trade. I have a trade deal. I take all of your data and I collect it and I sell it
Yeah,
to ad companies, and you get nothing.
yeah. Mark Zuckerberg's going after him, man. He's like, hey, man, you didn't share your data with me, man. What's
You're
going on?
I don't know
Where's
how
all your
well
data?
you're
Where's
gonna
all
get
your data,
sued.
bro? I seen you deleted Facebook and uninstalled it. What's going on there? You want to tell me something?
See, Rego, we're giving you an idea for a sequel to The Social Network. You can get Jesse Eisenberg in there. You guys can make it where now he's all weird and he's on
Yeah,
there talking about how he purchased Instagram and he's collecting data.
I just dropped a picture of the. It's just a screenshot of some of the moments in the 10-minute play. I put it in the general chat channel. Like that's just kind of an example of like how I create like this mystical figure via like hands in the background and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And this
Ooh,
this
let's check
actor
this
that I
out.
worked with was like this a really cool nerd looking actor when we did it. He like pulled off the character so well too. So
That's like
Well,
something me and Rob did one time. We did like a little skit like that. That reminds me of
it
that.
does. That's the thing. We're doing this. Oh man, it's still on YouTube too, by the way.
Look
But
at those fingers webbed. All right, this has got to go on the thumbnail for sure for this.
yeah, it's
um,
well, it's his
Yeah,
facial
okay.
expressions because it looks like he could play like a 70s or 80s character in a horror film, like It or something. He just played that character so
Look at
well.
those fingers, man. That's hands. That's
He
awesome.
got I don't know, the lighting with it, like it looks good because the screen's lighting it up and then you can see the hands. It's scary.
yeah.
It's terrifying.
Well, it was weird because we only had 7 hours to rehearse this and create this thing. Like we didn't have a script or anything. Like I came up with the idea and we kind of ran with the idea as is. And that like the crazy thing is I only had two actors, like this guy you see in the picture, and another actor. Like luckily this guy had a roommate that wasn't doing anything that weekend. And I was like, let's use your roommate, just put her in the background and we could use her for like her hands and creating this mystical figure that you could see in the
Mhm.
background, which worked really well. But I would say it was fun to see how you create stuff via Zoom, but hopefully we don't have to go back to doing that.
Well, I mean, it's still a good idea though when you think about it. You could use Zoom to your advantage or whatever. Because there was that one movie, what was that called? Unfriended? Is that the one, the horror
Yeah,
movie that was
that was
all
great.
completely done over webcam?
I thought that was good.
Yeah, and that was before
I remember
COVID, and I
that.
thought it was great. I thought it was a good concept because it's a modern day take on how things it could happen. It was like a friend, like everybody started dying each like individually, and it was weird. It's just you can see it happening. It's scary. It was a great concept.
What's gonna happen in my apartment?
Oh man, yeah.
Let's
You
get
wanna
into that.
you want to talk about what's been happening in your apartment? What's going on, man? What's
Yes.
happening?
No, I would say I don't know even know how to break down the series of events, but I'm gonna try my best.
Oh,
So we moved in. When did we move in? Ending of April. You guys remember this?
Yeah.
When we moved in, and I think it was that same night where we moved in. I don't know, like you guys know it. Like whenever you get, maybe it's because after that first night, it's a weird vibe. It's a new place. Obviously, you guys can tell it's a much bigger place than the place we were at before.
yep. A lot more space for spookables to be nesting in.
Yeah. So like long hallways, and like some hallways are really dark too. Um, and so I think it was the first night. It was just a weird vibe in the place. But I remember, and I remember my girlfriend bringing it up too. Like there, there's a different room next to us. So you guys know our guest room, right? So there's our room, and then there's
Yep.
the guest room. Like in the guest room, there's like that closet, and we put a lot of our storage bins in that closet. And I think it was that first night or second night, like the bins, we can just hear got knocked over.
Oh man.
And the cats aren't in there, right? Because we don't let them in any of the rooms right now. It's not Thor. Thor's not messing around in there. So that was the first night, and then the I was like a couple nights after that. We've heard noises, just like weird noises. I swear, like I've heard like someone talk from the hallway. But, like it's weird because you guys know like my room is very far from the hallway, so like it kind of like echoes in a way.
Mhm.
But also like it was a couple weeks ago where it was in the morning. I woke up and I got out of my door, and like two of my cats were locked in the laundry room.
Oof.
Like I have no idea how that would have
What
happened.
the hell?
Like yeah, so I don't know. It's just like weird stuff. Like definitely weird vibes. I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh,
who knows?
God.
Someone could have been killed in that place, man. There could be some murder,
Well,
homicide in there.
as you guys can tell, it's a little bit older than the last place we were in.
Well, you guys were having
Place does
even
like
creepy
seem
experiences at the
90s-ish.
last place too, because you were telling me about it when we were taking that trip down
Maybe it's
to
just me.
Flying Cloud Island or
Thanks
whatever.
for
And
after you, man.
Could just be me.
there is that theory that things follow you, man. There's that theory. I don't want to make it like creepier for you guys because obviously, if you're already experiencing some grab by the ghoulies stuff going on in your apartment. You know, the last thing you need is more fuel to the fire. But I don't know.
Nothing like. I think the creepiest, like obviously, like okay, like boxes they could just fall over, right? Like that happens. It's like because there's neighbors above us, they could just walk hard and the boxes could fall over.
Oh yeah,
But like cats being locked in the room, that's kind of weird.
that's pretty creepy.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a little tough to put obviously like an answer onto every single like little like odd thing that happened in your apartment already, but it's I don't know. Yeah, the cat's being locked in there is like that's a sign of something just not normal.
Yeah, yeah. I missed an order of events. So lately, it was that night. So I told you I woke up in the morning and the cats got locked in. It was that night before where Thor, you guys know Thor. Thor's on our bed, and all of a sudden, like he was sleeping, and all of a sudden he like kind of gets up, like he's sitting on the bed and he's just staring at our ceiling. Like
Oh no!
we couldn't like,
Oh, I'm getting the chills from this, man. This is,
No.
it's always bad when it's an animal, right? But like we
It's
couldn't like
bad when they're
break.
staring at the ceiling like that.
We
That's
couldn't
not a
like
good
break
sign.
his gaze. Like I tried snapping at him, like Thor, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he just wasn't. He wasn't listening. He was just distracted.
Oof.
And so that, and so I like let him out, of course. And then that morning after is when they were locked in the laundry room.
That's just, oh, God damn it. I'm getting chills, man. This is weird.
Oh, man.
Because I just think like when animals start doing that, it's just
Because they can
the
see that.
scariest thing.
They
I don't know
know it's
because you
there,
can't
man.
see it and you know they can. Like you know they feel it and you're just like, uh-oh. Am I supposed to be worried? But
It can't be a light, you know. Sometimes they get distracted by light, but it was at night.
right. And they're looking at the ceiling and I mean that's and if he's just staring blindly into it, it's like
Oh,
Yeah, but like
no.
pupils
No,
dilated
that's
and
skitty.
everything.
oh. Oh.
I mean, I guess like I
Disgusting.
chalked it up to like him like having a bad dream or something. But, like he's been doing it, I would say at least once or twice a week. He'll just stare at the ceiling.
It's just oh man, that's
Yeah,
that's rough.
animals, they see that stuff, man. If it's real, they're the ones. They're the ones looking at it. They see all that stuff we don't. It's like it's like with kids, you know, when babies and toddlers and stuff. I mean, even when I was a baby and toddler, my parents told me I'd always like point at stuff and see stuff and start crying when I, notice something and they'd be like, and start pointing out what it was. And there's nothing there, so it's like, yeah, the animals looking at that stuff. That's the cats are looking right at it. They're like, cat's like, why are you staring at my master so much? And that whatever that is, just creeping on you guys in the house. No, you know what? I don't want to make it more than it is. It might.
It's interesting though. It's so interesting.
It is. It might be looking at something like, you know, it could have been. It could have been a spider. You never know. You have
That's
no
what it is.
idea.
It's weird when he does it often.
That is very weird. That's even weirder. But it's hard to say.
Yeah, it's
He doesn't just. Lane about a good point. He doesn't just like look at one spot. Like he'll look at one spot, and all of a sudden it's like something just like bolted to the other side of the wall, and his eyes will like immediately look at another spot.
Things sprinting around.
now is this happening anything like recently or is this all
The last time that happened, like that intense, gosh, was back in May. But like the beginning of May. But like, every once in a while I'll just catch him like looking at the ceiling. But like during broad daylight, so it could be like him, looking at a light reflection. I would say that was like the weirdest time where I was like super confused because he never did that at the other apartment we were in. Never. So I don't know. It was weird, especially like when you're like changing looks, so drastically and your eyes are dilated. It looked like he was nervous.
well then that's kind of a telltale sign something's not right. And yeah, because I mean God, I don't know. It's just I could sit
Yeah.
here and make all these theories, but man, this
Bring you guys out here and we'll look at some stuff.
Yeah, I'm never coming over now ever again. Thanks a lot.
is.
We'll put Andrew on the floor in the living room. No, he'll
all,
stay in
all
the hallway.
alone out there. Rob can
He'll
sleep in
stay
the
in
room.
the
I'll sleep
hallway.
out in the
All right, as we were talking about, yeah, I mean, I could
GoPro.
bring a
GoPro.
GoPro. That's I'm gonna bring a GoPro.
Get that over. We gotta go over there to his house and we gotta record the whole night. And we don't need to stay up the whole night, but just see what's going on in there, man. We're gonna see some weird activity. Hopefully,
Well, I think
No, no.
mine, if I'm not mistaken, I think my GoPro
I shouldn't say hopefully.
can do a 360 image around. So I mean,
Oh man, that'd be
yeah, it does. Because I can have it for like a kayaking. If I'm out at night, I can set it up so it.
We definitely
see
gotta
that.
do that, man. That'd be
Yeah.
really
And
interesting.
there's always the theory that like if you once you start recording or something like that, or like the more you acknowledge it, the more like you can make things worse.
Well, that's the thing. Do you want to know? Like, is that
maybe
something
like after
What if
I, like,
it's the opposite though? What if you ignore and it gets more mad? Like, what if it gets more
I've-
angry because it
I've
wants
been
your
ignoring, I'd say things are better. I'll let you guys know tomorrow. But
energy?
Well, yeah, because now you're acknowledging that there's maybe something around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we just set up a camera though, I don't think like we're like giving it that much attention. We're just we'll look at the data that we pick
Yeah.
up, but we're not gonna like come over there and start doing like chants and stuff and like
No, we're just
start
asking
dancing
for
around,
garbage.
like, come on, spirits, where you at? Come on out, we're here.
It's going to be completely based on your comfort with this, though. Like, if you guys really want to know what's in there,
it was
get
like
the assist.
last week too. Like Elena, we went swimming. And Elena walked in our bedroom door, like in the corner of us. You could have swore she saw something like white standing. You know where like the bed is by the window. Like I don't know. So it's been interesting, but I would say nothing drastic. It's just like weird things that are like, that's weird.
Yeah, they catch you. That's the thing. They're catching you off guard, and you're like, okay, wait a minute, and then you really can't like lock back onto it because it's gone. So you're like, okay, well, moving on. But you get that on camera, it doesn't disappear. It stays.
Oh, that's there forever.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, what's like, even if we could just get the cat physically watching whatever it is, like that's enough, I think, to tell you, like, okay, there's something wrong. Maybe it's those hands in the video there that are creeping in there, the webbed fingers coming through the door.
Yeah,
the thumbnail is gonna be even creepier though.
If that's what it is, man, that's then you got a problem on your hands.
Yeah, it's super weird, but it's also, I'm living in an apartment, so I'm like, well, what if it is? Like, what other apartments is it hanging out in?
That's true. Maybe it just likes you guys. Maybe it likes you guys' cats.
I always have an issue with like taller buildings like that. To me, just people, with suicide and stuff, you think of the worst right away, and you're thinking like college dormitories, like how many people maybe have jumped off a dormitory at one point in their life just because life was so horrible for them, and now they haunt that place. Like that's the number one thing, and it could be the same with apartment buildings that have a couple of stories. You have to look at it the hard way, or people in themselves or whatever it may be, just ideas, or somebody getting murdered, whatever. I don't know if that's what happened. I don't know how old your building is, but certainly you could have something creepy in there, that's for sure. I can definitely tell whatever it is definitely creeped me out. So I'm glad you brought this up on the show. Oh yeah, I kind of got like the chills, like, uh-oh. This is good. There's just the cat part really got me. That's what
it's always the cat. Yeah
because animals, they can give you enough of a hint, like, hey, there's something here. Like a dog barking, specifically at nothing, like barking at the air. I've heard that story several times where there's a dog barking at the door or whatever, and there's nobody out there. It's like, what the heck, It's eerie feeling. Just
Definitely eerie, yeah.
How about you, Rob? Any stuff going on at The old place.
No, I mean, as of right now, no. I mean, it was nicer when I had the cat, obviously, because the cat kind of could guide you through, like, okay, if there's something there. And there was never really anything that stood out to me besides the hallway light, because we have that auto light in the hallway down here where it just movement turns it on, and it would go on when nobody's home and it's just me. Like, it would just go at night, if everybody's gone. It's like, all right, that's not normal. And then there's nobody out there. This is like when I don't even have the cat anymore. Like when the cat was put down, it was like, okay, now this is even weirder. And that's just, it started actually happening more. Because I thought maybe a cat could haunt the house. I don't know how all that works. I'm not smart. Just weird, really eerie. But I don't have anything like super creepy. Like I wish I did. Well, actually, I don't. I just gonna want to sleep at night. But I mean, I don't know. You and Andrew definitely are the kings for this. Definitely, you have told me a lot of stories that have given me the chills. I don't know. From the last apartment with some of the stuff that happened, like that was, the just because we were driving at night too, and you're telling me all this because of course you had to do it at night, fucker. But it was all like stories that are like, I don't know if I want to hear the rest of this, but I do. you get like a rush.
Once you start listening, you don't want to stop.
Yeah, but it's just giving you like the creeps, like your hair standing up on your arms and stuff, and you're just like, I don't. Vsauce, what gives me the creeps? What am I gonna do? Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad I don't have anything like that. I can say I don't see really anything in like the corner of my eyes or nothing, because that would even be worse for me.
Those are always my favorite, the little corner monsters.
Because it's when you notice, like, wait a minute, that wasn't there before, and then now you're looking like, okay, wait a minute, it's gone now.
Like there's someone sitting,
like your peripheral vision catching it. Yeah,
and then it darts fast and it's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, those are my favorite. Love those ones.
This is not a road I want to go down, and I feel bad for whoever has to like deal with that type of stuff, like seeing like image, like people standing or whatever. It's horrible. It's not. I don't know. And for you guys, Raghu, I think you might have something connected. I know your dad was into that. He's into creepy stuff too. I know he is. He's told me stories, and they're terrifying, and yet great at the same time. But still, it's like, whoa, like even the dream part, like that's even scary. Like having dreams of things happening to like people that you love and stuff like that. Just terrible. Like it's just not something anybody wants to deal with. I don't know. That I've had happen before though. Dreams of like just like nightmares happening where it's not good. I guess I shouldn't call them dreams. If you're dreaming about it, it means you want it to happen.
Yeah, I get a lot of nightmares. Or I shouldn't say I get a lot of nightmares, but I've had a lot of nightmares. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
When that like pops up in like I usually get a lot of dreams when I'm getting stung by like wasps for some reason. I was getting stung by wasps, getting swarmed. I think I talked about this in a previous episode. We talked about what that meant, like the symbolism. It was like something about like can't remember.
I think we talked with Ernesto about it. I believe it was
it must have been it must have been Ernesto. But yeah, I always get those recurring. I haven't had one in a while, but I used to get them a lot though. A good old wasp swarm, getting stung by wasps and just waking up from being stung. Like it's really bad.
this is horrible. You're dreaming.
This other one, yeah, it's not fun. This other one, this like deer, like how do I describe this creature? It's like you guys ever seen a Wendigo? You know what a Wendigo is? So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that creature with the horns, the big like like the deer head.
Yeah.
With the long arms and the big like legs, and it's tall, and it doesn't have the. Some pictures sometimes they portray it as like dead, but like the skull or whatever. But this thing was just pure white. It's just one color. The whole thing was white. This thing has appeared in a bunch of my dreams, different places, different scenarios. Somehow it always gets back into the dreams. I don't know how, but the most recent one I can remember, this was like probably it's been a while since I've seen Mr. Wendigo, but last time I seen him, so I was in the house living now, and I woke up in my dream out of my bed. This is the weirdest thing ever. I'm
That's weird.
walking, I hear like this loud like shrieking noise. I can't describe it. Like it was really just strange. Anyways, it's like this yelling coming from my front yard. And then I think it was either my dad or my brother was like, "Go outside." That's all he said, to go outside. And I'm like, all right. So I just go outside, and it's nighttime. It's like when I woke up on my bed, it was daytime, and then it was nighttime when I opened up the door outside. And then I look to my right, and there's this big, tall white thing, long arms and long legs and big old antlers, big old like rack on its head, and it's just staring at me. And then I just like thinking like for a second, I'm like, what in the fuck? Like what
That's
the hell
weird.
is? Yeah, it's really weird. Then I just remember like turning around and sprinting, and then like hearing like this like super loud ring, like almost like shell shock, and then it just like the dream turned white, and then like I just woke up from it. So, it was pretty creepy. Like just going out in the
God,
front
yeah.
yard, it's like pitch black at night, turning to my right and just seeing this thing just staring at me. Like, yeah, it was weird. It was like walking kind of towards me and stuff. What the hell?
Now the
But,
Wendigo is a horrifying
yeah,
creature.
it didn't do anything to me in the dream. It just like it never does. Never does anything. It's
Well,
always there.
the idea, though, is that they do want to eat humans. that's
That's
the
true.
Well,
Yeah, maybe
that's, that's the
maybe
what's
he's
it
idea.
called?
It's a
coming after me for
Wendigo.
a while there.
What exactly is it?
So
It's how would you? I don't know
it's
how
an
you
urban
explain it.
legend. Mostly it appears like northern East Coast, Minnesota, like northern Minnesota is really popular for this thing, like North Dakota, possibly Montana. It's like a northern
Well, it is a
northern
Native American
yeah,
urban legend.
Ojibwe.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's an Ojibwe legend.
and it's how do you? It's
A lot of
the
Native Americans.
explanation of it is that it's like a giant humanoid, but yet it has horns, like an antlers, like a buck.
Oh, I think I've seen this.
Yeah, it's
A mythological creature or evil spirit which originates from the folklore of First Nations based in and around the East Coast forests of Canada and the Great Plains region of the United States. So, like, I'm assuming the Dakotas.
yeah.
Parts of,
And then the
yeah.
Great Lakes area, so like Superior, Michigan, so like Minnesota, northern, Minnesota, the foresty area, northern Wisconsin, northern
Oh,
Michigan,
I should have
all
added it was on
foresty.
all. Exactly. I should have added that it was on all fours too, but they can go on
Huh.
2 feet. Yeah.
Well, I think I've sent the weird thing is I sent a picture into our spooky things group on this server here that had something similar to that on like all fours and it was terrifying. And I know I'm sure that's probably one of the one of the things you don't want to see because it has large antlers. It looks like a Wendigo. Um, very very weird story though. Very creepy urban legend. Oh, just
Yeah, it's spooky stuff, man. I don't know what that dream means that I've had or nightmare, whatever it's called.
what a
But
dream to
it was
have.
around for a while. Haven't seen it in a while. Um, I guess if it's trying to help me out, I don't know, or if it's trying out to get me. In that case, I hope I don't see him again.
Yeah, I hope not.
He came in. He came in a good handful of my dreams. He they're not always long dreams either. They're usually pretty short.
You're up right away. Then I take it. You're kind of
Yeah,
like it
like it's
awakes
real.
you.
Yeah, usually it wakes me up. So I don't know. Your guess is as best as mine.
Um, yeah. Uh, Interesting enough. Very scary stuff. I don't know. You guys deal with a lot of horrifying things, man. You guys got a lot going on.
Yeah, you gotta catch up there, Rob.
Yeah, Rob,
No,
I
no
can.
thanks. I just deal with I deal with the reality pain with the back pain and fucking my head is always
Oh,
hurting
the
and
horror. The back pain monster.
My back is hurting from carrying everybody on my back. It's getting obnoxious.
It's graduation
Um,
weekend for people. You guys know anyone?
Oh, that's graduated. I guess no one in particular that I can kind of think of.
well,
off the
P.
top of my
Reed's
head.
brother graduated.
Oh, Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to Jackson.
Your sister graduated college there, Raghu.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
He forgot
Oh
about his
yeah.
own
Oof.
sister.
Don't let her hear this one. Hopefully she doesn't listen.
He
Don't worry,
forgot
buddy.
about his
We'll
own.
we'll edit that out, Rob. Don't edit it out.
I'll keep it in there. He's been, oh, damn, man.
That's messed up.
Damn.
You forgot about your own sister graduating from college, man. You messed up.
Congratulations to
Uh,
Brandon's sister too.
yep.
Good for
Samantha,
her, man.
congratulations.
Way to stick it out.
Yeah, you did it.
Do you guys have any other topics you want to talk about? Anything else on your mind?
I don't know.
I got our ending quote here. You got anything else?
I think his
His microphone.
he's
there.
been having issues in and out.
Oh, weird.
It's the spirits, man. Don't worry. Me and Rob
Ghouls.
are coming to the rescue. We're coming, buddy. Come with
It's
the
the
GoPro.
ghouls.
We're gonna
Let's,
get these.
Let's settle this weekend. Come on over this weekend. Let's figure out what's going on.
Well, me and Rob are playing airsoft. Maybe we can come over Friday night, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the work schedule.
He's not coming.
No, come on.
He's
I'm not saying that. No, definitely I can swing by. It's not a problem. Can't stay long though because I'm not welcomed. But no,
What do you guys do?
definitely we can do something this weekend for sure. I just got to get the GoPro all charged up and maybe
Yeah.
find a stand or something.
We
can
were
play
original
we get-
plan was to go do an airsoft game this weekend, but I feel like I kind of want to do this now.
well,
I mean,
I
we
think
can
it's
do
going to be a
both.
little hot again. I think it's going to be another scorcher.
It is going to be 90s, so yeah, I don't know if
It's
I
not
don't
as
know
fun
about
to be
that.
out there in the woods with mosquitoes and shit. It's not so great.
Oh, that's going to be in the 90s on Saturday.
So yeah, I mean,
Rob, bring some sage.
Bring
I
some sage.
don't
and
know
some
if
holy
I
water.
have any. I'm not into that voodoo witchcraft type of stuff like Andrew is. He's into it.
I'll bring
He's
over
got
the
all that.
sage and the holy water.
Well, let's hear the
Bring-
end quote.
bring-
Let's hear what do we got? What do we got
Bring my
for
Bible too.
quote of the day?
So I tried to get the quote that I usually read a quote at work for people, just 'cause it's one of my little things I do in the morning. But this one's different. This one is sometimes you must go to war with yourself to fix yourself. That's David Goggins, the biggest swear curser ever. No,
He's
he's great.
inspirational, but he sure is a
He's got
foul
a
mouthed
potty mouth.
man.
We're getting him some goal. No, he's great. He's a fantastic person. He just swears a lot, but no, he's awesome.
So sometimes you have to go to war with yourself in order to fix yourself.
Yep.
I like it.
Every day. Every day is a new war, guys. Every day. Whether it's ghosts, your back pain,
Yeah, I'm going to war with that every day.
trying to conquer the everyday struggles of not going into a tanning booth with a camera in at your local gym.
Oh.
The struggles, the wars are every day. We must conquer them and continue to fight forward. And that is all,
Yep.
ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for joining us again, Brandon. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'd love to be back again.
We're fixed. We're
Absolutely.
gonna fix your apartment Friday. We're coming. The Ghostbusters are coming. But the male Ghostbusters are coming. Two
Things are gonna
dudes.
get worse.
Alrighty.
We should do a live feed of that GoPro and
I'll put if we find anything, I'll put it on YouTube. I don't care.
dude. Yeah,
It's gonna be weird, but I'll do it. At your guys' consent, of course. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
no spooky in my apartment.
Yeah. Just put it on the
Don't
Strange
show the
Exchange
apartment
thing.
number.
No, of course not. It'll just be like, hey, we're at this apartment in this area. Here's the address. You can come find us.
Come find us. I'm
Um,
bringing my Bible. I'm bringing a pack of Newport 100s in case the ghosts want to
cool.
get the smoke on.
Yeah, I'll bring my
That's
GoPro. I'll bring
the offering.
bring my GoPro and bring my new favorite water, Fiji water. I'm gonna bring a couple bottles.
Fiji
What?
water.
I am into it, man. It's good stuff. All right.
Hey, Fiji water is good. It's delicious.